One, I'm good.
Cool. Let you take a sip, and then when you're ready, go ahead.
My name is Paul Krauss. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm licensed in Arizona and Michigan, and I run a healthcare office called Health for Life Counseling in Michigan, and also participate in a healthcare office in Phoenix called Biltmore Wellness Collective. I decided to start a nonprofit years ago called the National Violence Prevention Hotline. And tonight was our first large fundraiser, which was sponsored by the DeSigiou family and a lot of other local people in Denver who thought that it was a good cause to lend their support to. The idea, if you probably saw the speech, but the idea is basically to start a pilot program for our hotline, because there is no hotline like it. There's a hotline for suicide, there's a hotline for crisis, there's a hotline for domestic violence, and there are a hotline for veterans, but there is no hotline for people that might become violent, only suicidal. I think that that's a problem. I think 988 needs to really work on violence prevention, and we need to reach people before they become perpetrators. So in every single example we have been able to research, when you look into the deeper part of the story, either the person was online writing all sorts of disturbing material, reaching out for help themselves and not knowing what to do. A lot of people are afraid to call the police. They don't know who to turn to. You call your therapist, say I'm homicidal. That's also going to possibly land you into the mental hospital or police call. We also are working on making the hotline available to friends, family, co-workers that might be concerned about a friend, but they don't want to call the police on them. They don't know what to do because they're not to the level of the acting out behavior. Because we know that in every single case of the school shootings and mass killings we've seen, somebody was concerned about the behavior of the individual, whether it was the person themselves reaching out or family or friend. So tonight was our first fundraiser, and we had a little bit of support from some different funding groups in Michigan and other states, California, but Colorado has come in big. This is the first fundraiser where we had 200 plus people behind us and donating money out of their personal funds to support the cause so we can create the pilot program. The pilot program is, we're hoping to do 6 months or a year of 24/7 coverage, and we're hoping to launch Google ads and other internet ads on chat rooms and forums where folks that have known to have violent tendencies and post very angry things hang out, so that they could possibly click and get help via chat or phone. We're still in the midst of making that pilot program, but with the funds we got tonight, we probably should be able to start it soon. What was your other question?
My next one is just, what do you think the impact is going to be with implementing this in different communities across the country, across Colorado, different things like that?
So yeah, the impact, we're going for, I would say a threefold impact. The first impact is that we need to have the hotline available. Even if it only stops a few mass killings or personal murders, I think it's worth it to set it up. Just like the suicide hotline, just like the domestic violence hotline, and other hotlines that came before. People were always skeptical of those hotlines. They said, no one's going to call the suicide hotline. In fact, Congress didn't even fund it until the late 90s. A bunch of people had made small crisis lines in different cities like San Francisco, Chicago, New York. Lo and behold, in 2022, it was so popular that they moved from an 800 number to 988, which is a national number. 14 million calls and text messages since 2022, and we're in 2025. It's incredible, the response. Domestic violence hotline, U.S. Veterans Suicide Hotline, all getting overwhelmed with calls. So we don't have a hotline dedicated to people that might become violent or people that are worried about someone's behavior. The first impact is starting the hotline. The first effect would be actually starting to reach people. The second effect, I think, is that we need to partner with larger partners that already have infrastructure in place. We would like to partner with 988 if possible to make a whole division dedicated to people that have homicidal or violent impulses that are in pre-contemplation or contemplation stages. Obviously, if somebody's in an action stage, you're going to have to call 911. But if somebody's in a pre-contemplation or contemplation stage, we know that people don't know what to do. People are afraid to call the police on their friends or family. They're afraid to call them on their colleagues. They don't want to send them to the mental hospital. Oftentimes they're just conflicted. We need a place where therapists and other emergency personnel can understand what to do in the situation to prevent these situations from happening. The other impact we believe, besides joining 988 or another larger crisis number that already has infrastructure, is the cultural impact. We believe that the United States is in denial of a violence problem. Homicide is the leading cause of death in children. It's ridiculous. And everyone wants to talk about guns and knives and cars and, that's fine. I'm not in that debate. We're not in that debate. That debate is going to keep going on for years. I'm into what can we do now? What is something people could agree on from all political angles? I think that people can agree on all political angles that somebody who is in distress, who's homicidal, needs help. The people in their lives don't know who to turn to. So the cultural impact is that we believe by starting this hotline, we could have a conversation about the fact that having violent thoughts is a normal thing when people get upset, when they get threatened, when they get angry, when they feel unsafe. Some people want to run away. Some people might turn the gun on themselves because they're so depressed and sad. But some people want to fight. It's a normal human impact to want to fight or cause violence to defend yourself. We need to have that conversation. We need to have a grown-up conversation. These people are out there, and they used to be what we would call normal folks. Oftentimes you look at all these news stories and they say, oh, well, he was a neighbor, he was just a regular guy, and then the next thing I knew, he shot up a school, right? These people need help. So we believe that not only is the hotline needed, but a conversation about violence in schools, a conversation about violence in workplaces, conversations about how to prevent it through therapy, education, and other programs. There already are some pretty cool anti-violence programs in some larger cities, mostly dealing with gang violence and domestic violence. But I do think that we need to not just point the finger at gangs and domestic violence. It is any one of us that could become violent if we were in the wrong situation and having really bad thoughts. So my hope is not only the hotline starts, not only do we join up with larger forces, but that we have a real mature conversation about that this is a real problem in the United States, and the statistics don't lie. While certain crime has been going down the last 10 years, a lot of crime has been going down if you look at the stats, mass killings have gone up exponentially in the last 25 years. So the fact that we're not addressing it is ridiculous to me, and I think that we need to start. And I think if we do that, if I think the people of the United States join with the National Violence Prevention Hotline and have an adult conversation about it, I do think we will see, on a personal level, less of these incidents. I don't think we'll prevent them all. I don't think you can ever prevent them all, just like you can't prevent suicide, but I do think you can prevent a lot of them.
Good.
Yeah.